comes the deity of the distortion world in my computer, Giratina. So the first thing you're probably wondering, what's it used for in battle? Well, everything. You want a wall? It can do that. You want to hit and run? Sure. Want to set up attacker? Giratina has you covered. You want a sex slave? Okay, let's not think of that. With one of the highest HP stats in the entire roster and great defenses to back it up, makes it insanely bulky. And the Lustrous Orb, which gives its primary attacks an attack boost, and also altering its forms, swapping its base defenses in favor of offensive attributes, allows Giratina to work as a reliable attacker, and most likely, you won't want to go back afterwards. But what really wins it for me is its concept. So when the Pokemon world was created, Arceus made the 3 deities known as the Creation Trio, each with a specific purpose. So what's Giratina's? Well, it's known as the Renegade Pokemon. So if you can't wrap around that idea, if Arceus was Zeus, then Giratina would pretty much be Hades. Without the awesome voice. And it's also just so creepy. Giratina takes charge of the distortion world, which the entrance is pretty much any reflective surface. So basically, it's stalking you as you're brushing your teeth. And it also has its signature move, Shadow Force, where it would vanish to its own dimension and pop back up to surprise attack its opponent. And we are familiar of how freaky the distortion world is. At least in Pokemon standards. And it's still rated E. Oh, Nintendo. Giratina also serves as a very good boss fight, with the build-up leading to it, which shows off its concept very well. It's one of the first and only legendary Pokemon that looks like it's going to say, "I want you." Oh, that's going to give me nightmares. Move on to the next one, please. So, making this list, I've realized I like quite a lot of ground types. I think the problem is with most of them is that they didn't really give the first impression, and I wasn't fond of them until I analyzed them a little bit more. But there was that one that definitely came close to my favorite the second I saw it. Okay, what is this thing? It's an, OMG, I want one so badly, that freaking shining form is so cool! But I'll mess that up eventually, so I'll refer to it as Flygon. So Flygon in battle is pretty straightforward. Ahem. Attack, attack, attack! Hey, I'm not complaining, am I? It's also very useful for scouting due to access of U-turn and taking the least amount of damage from entry hazards in the entire Pokemon roster. Flygon also has a very intriguing concept. The Pokédex would refer to it as the Desert Spirit, as it would flap its wings to create sandstorms while it makes a singing sound. Its design is rather cool as well. Might look like a standard bipedal dragon at first glance, but it has eyes that look sort of like a bug, and it has shields covering them to block it from sandstorms. It also bears 2 large antennas, making it look like it takes references off of antlions. Its tail also kind of reminds me of my Milotic's. And do you know what? I'll teach it fly, for the same exact reasons of wanting a Lapras all the time, because I love how unique it looks and pulling me into someone else's imagination. And I can't think of something witty to end it off, so I'll just say this. Mega Flygon. Make it happen, Game Freak. So this one might either come as a shocker, kind of underwhelming, or you might fully agree. But what can I say? I love my Weasels. In battle, Floatzel is mainly used as an attacker, and the main highlight is its incredible speed. With 115 base speed, it will outrun many Pokemon in the roster, and under the rain, it will outrun every Pokemon in the roster. It also has access to moves such as Baton Pass and Switcheroo to give it some pretty unique tactics. As you can probably tell, it's getting really difficult to explain why I love these Pokemon so much, but I think one of the main reasons of my love for this one lies within design. That kind of reminds me a lot of Tails. I knew he was the fastest thing alive. Seriously, how does he do that? But it also has a stomach that has a water drop, a nifty flotation device that looks like it could be used as a pull toy, and it also grew fangs from its previous evolution. And, you know, I just kind of dig those. So, anything really special about it? Not really. Does it really need it? Well, luckily this is a list of my favorites, because all of this doesn't interfere with the fact that I have loads of fun using a Floatzel. I just always try to find an excuse to use one on my team, and oddly enough, it always seems to be the last one standing. It's my partner that gets me out of these nasty binds I have, and it's my win or lose. We will do this, my partner, and brave through all that stands in our path. First, the champion. Next, the Summer Olympics. Wait, what? God, you put Darkrai this high on the list. You're trying to kiss up to Logan. It's way too overrated. Oh, shut up. Shut your ignorant trap already, because you overreact to any sort of praise a Pokemon is given. Don't you think that maybe, just maybe, that he was able to get more people to appreciate a roster that certainly deserves a lot more acknowledgement? To me, that's a really good thing. So in battle, Darkrai is probably one of the frailest legendaries in the roster, but it mainly serves as a sweeper, similar to that of the strengths of Mewtwo, just not as powerful. However, the main gimmick behind Darkrai is the ability to put foes to sleep and use that as a huge advantage. If the sleep clause isn't on, this Pokemon can get insanely threatening with its huge special attack, a large number of special moves, and even complemented by nasty plots. Another reason of my love for this Pokemon comes with its design. Falling very close to one of my favorite dark types, this thing just looks devious. The fog-like hair makes it look like something appropriate to lurk within the shadows. It just screams, "I am the ghostly figure of your worst nightmares." Now for the part that might be a little more touchy. I honestly don't think I could do the same justice that Logan did, but I will say its role within Rise of Darkrai was simply an incredible piece of fictional storytelling. As its Pokédex entry would suggest, it's an incredibly misunderstood Pokemon that really doesn't mean any harm. And the movie was a near-perfect illustration for such a concept. Seen as nothing more than a mere tool of destruction, it was not afraid of risking its own life to save the entire town, regardless of how it was treated. I also guess you're interested of hearing my thoughts of its role within Explorers of Sky. Well, though it's a completely different interpretation of Darkrai as a character, serving as an antagonist of the game, I, in all honesty, find it incredibly fascinating how different writings can interpret a single Pokemon. He sounded threatening, to legitimately make you afraid to face him. But to wrap it up, Darkrai is an incredible Pokemon, and I find it easy to see how people can like it so much. But the next entry, I have even more emotions for. This one. Alright, before I even begin with this, I just need to bring something up. Gardevoir is a Pokemon that seems to be thrown way out of proportion while discussing popularity. Look, if the argument to it receiving praise is certain imagery... Oh my god, I thought my Gardevoir was fast and it made my Metapod harden. I cannot take you seriously. Let me ask you, how many people do you actually see like Gardevoir for other reasons? And to further the statement, what's stopping all the other Pokemon on the roster from being overrated? Look, I have nothing against Gallade. I do really like Gallade. And yeah, in the meta, Gallade is slightly better. But honestly, I feel the capabilities are thrown out of proportion in reaction to another side of the fandom that's not really any of your concern. I should also mention that fairy type, godly. So with all of that out of the way, I should really discuss the battling capabilities. Gardevoir, quite simply put, is as standard as psychic types will ever get. It can take a special hit pretty well, and is able to strike back with massive power. It also has a number of support moves to either buff its two highest stats, or help the rest of the team. Design-wise, I just find it so pretty. And there is another guy who agrees with me. Gardevoir most likely takes inspiration off of ballroom dancers. Concept-wise, it might be based off of guardian angels due to its behavior, and how its Japanese name translates to "come, Sir Knights." Speaking of which, there is something that its counterpart will never be able to top for me. A role within one of my favorite side installments in the series. You guys were probably wondering at the Ninetales segment, why didn't I go over this further? Well, I was holding it to explain the role Gardevoir had in this game. It's a little tough to describe, but just imagine this. You're a child, playing this game for the first time. You get chased out of the Pokemon town in accusation of committing such disasters. It's you against the world, and you feel stressed, being separated from the few friends you made, all alone with your partner, and one other who always has been by your side, and that was Gardevoir. It gave you, the main character, something that nobody could ever give. The courage to always press on, and somebody that will never leave by your side. And being able to press on your role as a hero to the Pokemon realm. Then that same sense of courage and willpower just seemed to project right onto your partner, giving him the same motives. And then there was that scene. Earlier in the game, the Gardevoir told how the former trainer was so despicable, but yet despite all of that, it still cared for its trainer. And then where the real trainer of the Gardevoir was revealed, a despicable trainer who viewed Pokemon as nothing but tools for his use, was able to fully redeem himself, only because he now felt the strong loyalty of Pokemon and trainer, and filled his heart with so much passion and care. That's why I love Gardevoir so much. Just this role alone was enough to get it this high on the list. So, we're familiar with starters. We most likely hold something very dear to the first one we've ever raised. But, do we ever talk about something that has been determined for us depending on how we acted? Mystery Dungeon bonks up the entry this high once again, because the first Pokemon I played as in Explorers of Sky was Shinx. But I don't want to talk about Shinx, I want to talk about Luxray. It is kind of unfortunate as of now that in competitive, most of Luxray's capabilities are just incredibly gimmicky. But that's not really much of a concern since it's incredibly reliable in pretty much every 4th gen playthrough. Much like Floatzel, I would always find an excuse to have one on my team. It's got a nice amount of physical and electric moves, which I always love the idea of charging my opponents down. Battle capabilities aside, Luxray just has one of the coolest designs in the Pokemon rosters, coupled with one of the most kick-ass concepts. Luxray is most likely a lion, and it works as a predator in the Pokemon world, but it will lock on its prey with X-ray vision. Just strap these things with a couple of Moonraker lasers and I'll be trolling Logan and Will all day. Its design, having a star at the end of the tail, might also represent the constellation of either Leo or Lynx, and that just makes it so cool. It just has what I love in the Pokemon. Interesting concept, great memories, and overall, pretty fun to use. Oh, come on. If you didn't see this coming, then you don't know me. You do know me? What's my middle name? You don't know me! Anyway, Meganium is very close to one of my favorite starters of all time, and with very good reasons. Something people often seem to talk about when discussing Johto is how it's the pinnacle of difficulty spikes. Alright, you can call me the center of luck all you like, but I've played through Heart Gold with Chikorita as my starter. About 6 times. While trying to use different Pokemon. I've never had a problem with Whitney. And practically every time with Claire, it's the same story. If I can get through the game with literally no grinding, then I must be doing something right. So really, I've come to this conclusion. Choosing Chikorita is essentially eliminating the inconsistent difficulty curve. When you think about it, Faulkner and Bugsy aren't really that powerful, and despite type advantages, you can allow Chikorita to persevere with fair enough challenge and with the Pokemon you choose beforehand, which is quite literally everything I like in a Pokemon playthrough. The only difficulty curve at this point is the learning curve due to Chikorita being rather different from many starters, serving as a defensive/supportive Pokemon. But when you learn, something goes on in the back of your head. Holy crap, I'm thinking a little bit. In a Pokemon game! Speaking of defensive, if you decide to place one on your team for a competitive try, don't listen to Smoggin for this. You need to think. How would Meganium go into good syncage that would benefit your team with each switch in? With access to moves such as instant healing, absorbing, screens, aromatherapy, and even Dragon Tail, the options are immense when using it, and it's up to you to find out yourself and make use of its insane diversity. So Meganium is obviously a sauropodic dinosaur, and its design reminds me of a model for a flower. It's got a huge flower bloom around its neck and 2 stamens that make it really cute. Simple design, yet really fun. Meganium is also supposed to be the caregiver Pokemon of the Pokemon world, giving life to dried up plants and calming other Pokemon, which I always love. And somebody told me Meganium was stupid and is the worst starter of all time. I never punched someone so hard in the face in my life. Alright, this guy again. Let's see if I can actually do the justice it deserves. Being my absolute favorite of the Beast Trio, Suicune was pretty much the Pokemon I was looking for. Trust me, not being the hugest fan of water types, it really means a lot to put it this high on the list. In a one-to-one battle, a Suicune can be really hard to take down, though it might leave room for setup bait due to this strategy. But anything else, it will take like a boss due to its ridiculous defense and bulk to back it up. Running out of HP? Just rest and talk in your sleep. Entei's got the right idea. Concept and design, Suicune is most likely a Kyrie, a mythological chimerous being that is also said to walk on water. It also most likely takes Fujin references, being a Pokemon of the North Wind. A little confusing anatomy, but we'll go over it. The mouth is most likely a molar mouth like you would see on a horse. The horn resembles that of a unicorn horn, and the body structure is mostly leopard-like, mainly indicated by its spots. And that mane looks like an aurora, and 2 streamers on its tail that most likely represents waves of an ocean. It's just so beautiful. Just damn. Game Freak really took the extra mile while thinking about this one. Suicune is said to be the end of the disaster cycle, with Raikou creating storms, Entei for creating the fires that the storms caused, and Suicune producing new life, symbolizing resurrection. It also has a role within Crystal and Heart Gold / Soul Silver that doesn't have anything to do with it, but I still like it. But incredible Pokemon that I feel everyone should like, or at the very least, respect. EV evolutions. Everyone has a favorite. You already know mine, cause we needed a grass type EV evolution. Leafeon. And here's a less commonly known fact about me. My favorite to least favorite EV evolutions goes as follows, excluding Sylveon. Leafeon, Flareon, Espeon, Jolteon, Umbreon, Glaceon, and Vaporeon. Okay, I'm not going to be around the bush. Not every team is appropriate to have a Leafeon. Having a great balance of defense and glass cannon attacking, Leafeon is a little bit risky to use, but insanely rewarding. It can support the team due to having instant recover, baton pass, and even sword dance. It is also limited, but it does get the job done on the attacking side, having moves such as Leaf Blade, X Scissors, Return, and Feint to back it up. Using a mixture of both these movesets can make Leafeon a very dangerous threat to the opposing team. But I will tell you this, if I find an opportunity to use it, I can and will. And now, its design. Well, it's adorable. Taking both feline and Vulpin traits, I want one. Its concept is very interesting as well. It's said that Leafeons have cellular structures similar to that of a plant. So basically, it's both plant-like and mammal-like at the same time. It also uses this to produce clean air through photosynthesis. Its design also reminds me of a basic model of a plant. Its paws take the color of soil, the body with leaves attached to it making it look like the stem, then it goes up to the head and tail that have large green leaves. I love that! Oh, I gotta get to the next entry before I lose it. I was going to make a proper build-up, but instead I decided to do this. Blue Eyes White Dragon, it's time to... Where do I even begin with this? Well, you're probably wondering why I placed Reshiram here instead of Zekrom. Well, to put it simply, you may have a Black Eyes Red Dragon, but I have a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Anyway, Reshiram has the same base as Zekrom, with the exception that Reshiram is more focused around special attack rather than physical. Both are definitely standard for Dragon-type legendaries, and Reshiram still has a unique typing if you're not counting Gen 6. It also has its signature move where it creates blue fire, what's known to be the hottest flames burning over 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But one of the main reasons I picked Pokemon Black was just how Reshiram looked. I felt it looked more elegant than its counterpart. It's covered in so much fluff and I wanted to see the hair on its head to wave around in the breeze, which it does. And it's so beautiful. One of the main highlights about Reshiram for me was its concept and how it was executed, mainly through Pokemon Black. Reshiram belongs to the Tao trio, and is the side of yin and yang that represents the strong belief of truth. Due to the conflict of truth and ideals, the Pokemon were separated into orbs in weight of a hero. In Pokemon Black, you were confronted by an anti-hero throughout your journey known as N. But something was different. His intentions weren't necessarily bad. You fight through the league once more, and you find out N has beaten the champion and wants to reshape Unova to his beliefs. You, as the hero, bring a stone containing your dragon and release it at N's castle and fight for your beliefs. I guess you're wondering what's so special about this. Well, it's not a wild Reshiram you got there. It's Reshiram, the Reshiram. It's not just a Pokemon with great stats. It's a Pokemon the game makes you feel like you've earned. All that you've been through. You project the emotions and place everything you believe into a single Pokemon. Everything you feel, your burning determination, showing your heart is indeed stronger. But you see, it made me legitimately care. Pokemon to me is no longer a franchise about going towards a goal. No, it's about the never-ending journey of knowledge. Every new journey, every new Pokemon revealed, it's a journey to learn even more. And those you feel close to will always get stronger as you journey the entire world. Then there are those people who would help you along the way. Your enemies are people with their own beliefs as well. And though you may disagree, you learn. I always try to speak with my heart and say what I believe instead of saying what others want me to believe in. I speak with the only motive of spreading my story to others. And I expect the opposite side to do the same, because though our viewpoints are indeed conflicting, we all do have something in common. We are all human, and we can each learn from each other. So here I am. My will is strong and nobody is ever going to make me think differently. I will always continue my search for truth. This is the true meaning of Pokemon. I will share my knowledge and stand by what I believe, a story only I can tell. And I will never give up my quest to seek out the true meaning of this world.
Hello again. Hit.
Hades.
Hit.
Hades.
Hit.
Hades.
Hit.
Hades. Excuse you. But anyway, now it's ready. On to